All right, let's get back here. We're back. So we're going to start part D, A, B, C, and I think this is part D um, for our next part, or whatever part it is. I've lost track of whatever. I mean, yeah, C. I'm sorry, part C with as well. So let me continue to where we have left off right now with it. So here's how I look. So you can see where we have the regular coffee and the matcha, and if we add extra space at the bottom, the chai would end up to be the bottom, swipe looking like this with it, even worst case with it. So we add a button on this as well. So since that we have an additional space with it, this looks a lot better if it doesn't come down to the bottom with it as well. As you can see, gives you a little transition with it, and swiping up with my finger with it. So I want to have you go to download a Figma Mirror application on your phone. You can see what it makes with it. So it's a real application on your phone device with it. It looks good. So the next thing we need to do here is if I tap on the milk tea space with it, it's going to the selection module of the tea with it. So the regular milk tea with it, so that the screen is here, looks like this. So let's go ahead and build this screen here, and we'll go work on the drop down as well to right here with it. So if we go back to the learning page, this is going to be the regular size and the height with it. So let's copy the loading screen that we had here. So again, I just want to hold on the option, grab the artboard, hold shift and drag to the right. I'm going to click and drag to the right to select the item within the artboard. Now I'm going to delete that, and then I press delete. Okay, I just want to reuse the photo here. So let's go ahead and press Command C, and I'm going to Command V. This photo here is the top with it, and then you go and see it. There is we can move the bottom up, like say I want to squish it up like that, and makes a perspective of the photo with it. So it doesn't hold the aspect ratio to the interpolate of the photo like that with it. We don't want to distort the photo, so it doesn't look the photo doesn't look good. So we want to do it here. So we go to the image here and we click on it, and then we see where it says cropped image. Let's go ahead and says the image is here. Actually, let's go to fill, and there you go. You could fill. Once again, you move to the crop, fill, and I got here is the click image and fill here with it. So come over to where it is cropped, and I put fill, and now you can see that I moved it up. It doesn't give it a perspective change the image to it. I want to actually size the image up. So if I click on the image and double click, and so that the image is once clicked and double clicked, I can actually crop it here and at the top as well. So so press the crop, and you can grab the image as the crop, and so I can move it up a little bit, and over would be fine with it as well. So give it a little bit more space. So again, let's press it back, and we can go back to fill, and then go back to the crop again, and then we just move this up. Couple of ways you could do that. Okay, at this point, let's go ahead and have some more fun here. So we're going to make this prototype section, but let's make a close button on the top left. So we can tap on this, and then it closes the screen, and then we'll go back to the flavor screen with it as well, the shopping screen. So I'm going to grab the rectangle, and then we can actually have the rectangle going to the drag, and I'm going to actually hold down the shift, and then I'm going to hold shift and drag it, and I'm going to round the edges off here. Let's press 100. That's fine with it. So we can actually round off that selection with it as well with it. So let's continue with it. So since the actionable element that we want to do is the actionable color, so we're going to grab our primary action color, that pink, and I'm going to copy Command C. I'm going to click off of it. I'm going to click the back of the artboard. I'm going to do Command V, which is to paste in place. I'm going to select one of the paste and I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. So now I just have a plus button with it. So I'm going to select both of these and I'm going to go right click and going to group the selection with it, or you can do Command G. So I'll give it a second to that, and now I'm going to group that plus button available with it. So that rotates the plus button with it. Now that I'm going to actually have the X where I want it, and that and like anything like we use, that's going to be created, that's going to be reused again with it. So we're going to create a library for this, so later on we can reuse this. So I'm going to downsize this a little bit to make it a little smaller. That looks good. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to the component library here. I'm going to go ahead and paste it there with it, copy and paste it in the component library. Move this a little bit over. I'm going to create the component with it. So again, I paste it here. The little top diamond icon creates the component, and I'm going to actually go and name this, close this, and call this, let's call this X close, like that with it. Okay, so awesome. So the layer tab here is the top with it. So let's go ahead and the asset files grabs the X, the component that we just created, and we're going to put that there, place it in this X now, right there. So that way we can reuse this, we can change it pretty easily. The same area from the master component, and it changes the artboard. Okay, so let's have a little bit more fun here. So let's go ahead and prototype the transition here in our prototype with it. So let's click on the shopping page here. Let's go to the prototype tab and select our images in the boba tee with it. Let's go ahead and connect the screen to the right. So let's say the label, the screen here, let's label that screen. This says the screen because we copy it, because let's go ahead and do a selection in the screen. Alright, and now that we have the selected screen, the selection screen, so we can go ahead, we can have this shopping screen here. We select the regular boba, and let's click on the prototype connector selection screen, and now we have the interaction on tap, which is good. And then we went to move I want to move it in. Sometime it might, let's just say instant like this. Let's see, what do we do when we create a move in the scenario with it as well? I'll show you that it looks like in the instant right now with it. So we're going to actually do the X and back X to it, and then select the shopping screen. That we can do it just like instantly with it as well. So okay, so I tap here anywhere where the photo was with it, and then instantly transition the selection screen with it. So if I tap the X, it will instantly transition to the shopping screen. We don't want that. We want a transition. So we want the screen to slide up to it, and then the X will slide down to it, so that we need to select the prototype GUI so that it makes it from the boba tee with it as well. So let's just say that the screen here, this is the new screen that's going to move in, and then we're going to define how the screen is going to move in with it. So let's find that, slide it to the left with it as well. Okay, so it's going to come from the right, slide left with it. So we have slide right. It's going to come from the right. We have slide down here. We want to do this with the slide up with it. So so this screen is the screen selection that we're going to actually do on the shopping screen with it. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and make sure that we have selected to move in the specification on how we're going to move in with it. So set on up with it. So it looks, let's look at the prototype now. So if I tap anywhere in the regular milk tea is at, you can see how it slides up, and I think the X is still in the instant with it. So now you can see the screen is sliding up. Sometime if you have moved this selected at the end, you will find that the specs setting is moving down, and it will make it look like the thing that you want here with it. So let me show you what happened here with it. So show how to broaden others screen on the transition with it. Let me do that again. Let me click on the boba tea here. It slides up. That's what the transition. That's a good transition with it. When I press the X, you can see that the screen comes from the top and the screen underneath it in the shopping screen, and it slides down again with it. So we don't want that. What we want is to look like just slide up and then slide down again with it. So that causes a little because it's a selection with the animations defined in the move with it. Us actually want to move out with it. So let's get that out of the way. So again, we have the regular boba tea selection in, and then we tell the prototype to move the screen up and move in. So and then we have the X button to inform that it's going to go out, down, and expose the shopping screen here with it. So let's go ahead and look at that. So I tapped on the regular milk tea selection slide, and then it slides have the slide moves out, the move out, and then it doesn't bring out other screen with it, just so move in. So that's what's moving out, going down. Cool. So that's really common mobile interaction pattern. That's the thing sliding up and with an X, and then sliding down with a X as well. So when it comes to left and to the right, and that usually is the back button, as well as the opportunity that the experience of the prototype that has what is the back button with it as well. So all right, that's cool. So at this point, we want to add some labels so that you are on the regular milk tea with. So I'm going to copy the regular text here. I'm going to paste it here. Let's think what we said about the 16 points. Let's go ahead and make 22 points with it. I like the regular there with it. So that looks good. I'm going to copy that. I'm just going to call it regular milk tea, and I'm going to make this one. So I'm going to detach, make the bowl. Yeah, looks good. So at the and kind of center it, this as well with it. So if you want to have some real fun with it, just bump up the milk tea, and the tea up with a whole bunch that you can see. You can make this 32, and I have a regular milk, so that looks good. So that's getting there with it. One of the things I like to add here is the word milk tea with it. It has a lot of lead meaning and paragraph spacing in here. So some of the space between the milk, the word milk, and the tea, the spacing is misleading. It's leading or align the height and the spacing with it. So the spacing called the leading with it. The space that you have, the reason is that I'm calling a leading was back in the day that we were doing typesetting typography with it. They used to have what's called have you do what's called metal, and they would have a typeset machine that would cut out individual letters and then they would arrange those letters so making the word, and they would actually put in pieces of lead between each of the words to make it, leading with it as well. So that's just a billboard thing that they would actually do in print with it. So some industry story with it. Just want to tell you that much with it. So I'm going to go in right now, putting in that little the milk tea, changing out that little spacing with it. In today's world, we got digital format with it. So the world of CSS languages call height here. So let's go ahead and make a smaller line. I'm going to say 50 as a starting point with it, and now let's go down. Yeah, 38 is perfect. So now I have a set of 42 and 38 for the height. 8% is for the character with it, character spacing. All right, that looks good. We've created a bit of somewhat hierarchy here with the regular font for the milk tea. Since we created a 42 bowl, I'm not sure if we actually use the font from the big going forward with it. So, but just in case, let's go ahead and do it. Let's make 42. Let's make it 42. Make a 42 point character style or text style with it. So we have a pretty good arrangement with it. We have 4042. I need to rename this. I'll type 43. It's actually 42 with it. So okay, we need to have 42, 22, 19, and 16. That's pretty good so far for the styles, for the size of the font. All right, so that's a good range of characters that we can actually reuse in the text styles with it as well. And the next thing we need to do is to we're going to create a little drop down piece for the milk and the regular sweet and the medium ice. So let's go ahead and prototype here, and the screen selection. We'll grab the rectangle and just make a rectangle. It doesn't matter what size it is with it. I got mine set, so let's do about 320 width and 7065 height. Should be fine with it. Cool. So it's now it fills it wants to fill, so it wants to have a stroke. It wants to remove the fill with it. So click on the minus here at the right. You can see how when you actually want to fill the stroke with it, the plus signs, we want to make it all white with it as well. Let me stop right here for a second because they're running over time here.